What's going on, bottom line viewers? It's Mitch here with your Week 15 NFL review. Welcome to another week of The Bottom Line, where I rant, I rave, and I review the past week in the NFL. This week, we have a lot to discuss. A huge football game, Kansas City Chiefs, New Orleans Saints. Tom Brady's second major comeback versus the Atlanta Falcons. The Patriots have been eliminated from the playoffs. Who is the best team in the NFC? The Pro Bowl rosters were announced. I'm going to give you some snubs that I think should have made the Pro Bowl rosters. And the Pittsburgh Steelers absolutely, positively suck. All that and more on this week's Bottom Line for Week 15 of the 2020 season. Before I get into the bottom line and give you Ultra's top 10 for this week, make sure you do Gronk spike that like button, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for weekly NFL reviews, recaps, and reactions here every single Tuesday on The Bottom Line. Also, get in that live comment section. Let me know your thoughts on week number 15 and moving forward in the NFL. Let me know your thoughts heading into the playoffs. Also, your questions. Let me know any questions you have for week 16 and any questions you have regarding the NFL right now. Love to hear from you guys, of course, in the live comment section. And as always, we will get to your comments at the end of the show. Once I've gotten through all my frustrations, all of my rants, we will get to your comments, and I will definitely give you some time to give me your rants and your thoughts and your reactions. So, of course, as we always do, let's get to the top 10, Ultra's top 10 for week number 15. That's also contributed. Kevin Durkant, myself, we put together a top 10 each and every week. Now, this time, guys, I need to let you know that I did not contribute to this top 10 because I saw what they were going to do on this top 10, and I said, bro, I just simply cannot accept this top 10 under my name. So what I have done this week is I have put in all the blame or all the credit, depending on which way this goes, to Durkant and Ultra. Okay, so if you have a problem with this top 10, please point your frustrations and anger towards those two gentlemen in the chat. I do not want anything to do with it, okay? I am out of this. I'll give you my reaction as I see fit here, but I just want you to know, for the first time this season, I had no choice but to give in to this ridiculous top 10. So, let's take a look. And as you guys know, before I do give you this top 10, make sure you do give us a follow on Instagram where you can get the top 10 first. That's where you can see it first. A few hours before this show actually begins, the top 10 is out on Instagram. So follow us on Instagram at TheBottomLineView. More content coming soon, exclusive content that you don't get on the channel. All right, the top 10. Oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy. The Buffalo Bills are ranked number 1, again, by Ultra and Durkant, not me, by Ultra and Durkant. Okay, I gotta say something. I don't know about that one, sir. I don't know about that one. The Buffalo Bills, I love. Okay, I picked them to go to the Super Bowl. Everybody knows this. Are they the best team, though, right now? Can you actually tell me, without hesitation, I need the camera on for this one. Guys, can you actually say that the Buffalo Bills, right now, what's the date? December 22nd. Can you actually say on December 22nd that the Buffalo Bills are better than the Kansas City Chiefs? Let's go through a few things here. The Chiefs have not lost, other than to one game to the Las Vegas Raiders. They've lost one game in their past 21 or 22 games. One game. One. I understand that they've won a lot of games by 2, by 1, by 3, by 4. They still won, okay? The Buffalo Bills, meanwhile, have 3 losses this season. Even if you want to eliminate one of them, okay? 2, okay, because one was a Hail Mary. So let's just say they lost 2 games this year. They still lost 2. One of them was to the Chiefs! How do you put the Bills over the Chiefs when the Chiefs beat the Bills? Now, keep in mind, I had the Bills going to the Super Bowl. Keep in mind, I think the Bills can beat the Chiefs. But to say that right now the Bills are better, I mean, I don't know what else to tell you. I don't know what else to tell you, because I had an argument with these 2 guys on the Discord. If you're not in the Discord, get in the Discord, okay? I had an argument with these guys for at least a couple of hours about this, and I could not believe it. I was sitting there beside myself because I was like, this is bias. I don't know what this is. I don't even like the Chiefs, okay? I like the Bills more, if I'm being honest with you, 100%. But I can't say that the Chiefs are not the best team. Again, guys, the simple logic. Ric Flair. If you want to be the man, you got to beat the man. And right now, that guy is the man, and that guy's team is the champ. So the Bills lose to them. If the Bills beat them this season, okay, I get it. If the Bills beat them in the playoffs, I wouldn't be surprised. Again, I predicted it, okay? But to say right now that the Bills are better, that's just, I don't get it. I mean, you look at all the stats across the board. For as good as the Bills defense has played recently, they've been worse this year than the Chiefs defense. There's no way their offense is better than the Chiefs offense. Don't even get started. So I got a problem with that. You guys let those 2 dummies know. Put them in their place, okay? All right, let's get back to the list. Bills over the Chiefs for some reason. At number 3, the New Orleans Saints. Okay, I get it. I actually, see, this is a key note, I believe, for why there can and Ultra put the Bills at number 1 over the Chiefs. Because they felt that the Saints actually were good in that game, which I don't agree. I mean, that game, I am absolutely positively angry that I did not win money on that game because the Chiefs were destroying the Saints. Destroying the Saints. The game wasn't close, and somehow they still only won by 3. But when you look at it, I've said this before about the 2018 AFC Championship game. This is one of the closest blowouts in NFL history, okay? The Chiefs had 34 first downs. The Saints had 15. The Saints converted on 1 out of 11 third downs. The Chiefs outgained the Saints 179 yards rushing to 60, 232 passing yards to 225, 411 total yards to 285. They outpossessed the Saints 41 minutes to 18 minutes. The only reason that game was close is because of a safety and because of some boneheaded plays by the Chiefs that rarely ever happen. They were destroying the Saints. They were dominating that game. So they took that as a positive that the Saints played so poorly but made it close. I'm thinking the opposite. I think the Chiefs destroyed the Saints without playing well. So I take that as a negative for the Saints. So that's an opposite outlook on that. But the Saints, I don't know if they're the best team in the NFC. I really do not know, but I don't know who is. So I won't necessarily get mad at that because the Packers at number 4 looked pretty bad. We're going to talk about that first here. So I won't spend much time on the Packers, but they're first in the NFC. They deserve to be in the top 5. I just don't know if we've seen them play enough good teams yet to get a full-scale analysis on how good they actually are. And that's pretty rare. Number 5, the Tennessee Titans, another nice offensive performance versus Detroit. Detroit, as we know, does not field a defense, so the Titans easily scored a lot of points there. Number 6, the Baltimore Ravens. They are getting hot at the right time. I said this a couple weeks back, but they are a dangerous underdog. At number 7, the Cleveland Browns, another nice performance by Baker Mayfield. Looked really good. I thought he threw a crisp football out there. I'm not going to spend time on the Browns in this video, in this reaction, so I just think Cleveland continued what we saw last week. They beat another team that's in contention for the playoffs in the Giants. They're not very good, but they're well coached, and the Browns, okay, I think their offense, they found an identity. Baker's playing his best football of his career, and I believe the Browns could win a playoff game. At number 8, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, another classic Tom Brady comeback. There is a weird thing with the Bucs where they're the best team and the worst team that I've ever seen. At number 9, the Seattle Seahawks. The Seahawks had a really under-the-radar win over Washington. I feel like nobody watched that game, but they won the game by 5. Now, something I'll say about the Hawks, because I won't be spending much time on them either in this video, is their offense has been underwhelming lately, which is concerning, because I think if they want to do something in the playoffs, they need to be able to score around the 30s to beat the Packers, Saints, and Bucs in the playoffs. And the Colts at number 10. Colts are a solid team. I basically said this all year, but they are what I thought they would be. They are a solid team, but I just don't know that they're a great team. I don't believe they're a great team, but I think they're a playoff team. I think they'll compete. I think they'll give someone a challenge. Phillip Rivers playing good football right now, deserves credit, but the Colts are just kind of what we thought they would be. Good, not great. All right, so there's the top 10. Remember, Instagram, follow us at TheBottomLineView for weekly NFL top 10s that you'll get there before you get it here. Before we get into our first topic, guys, make sure you do, if you haven't already, Gronk spike that like button. All right, so let's start with topic number 1, which is Saturday Night Football, the Green Bay Packers and the Carolina Panthers. Now, I am specifically biased when it comes to this topic. Why? It's not because I like the Panthers, I like the Packers. It's not because I dislike the Packers or dislike the Panthers. Okay? I had a lot riding on this game. Why? Not in terms of not in terms of betting, in terms of fantasy. Okay? I had Aaron Rodgers as my quarterback. I had Aaron Jones as my running back. Aaron Jones did his part, okay? Aaron Rodgers put up his second worst game of the season in this game. So that tells me, first off, he blew it for my fantasy team. But second, okay, how do you have your second worst performance versus the Panthers? Huh? The Panthers? Carolina? I don't even know if you guys in the chat can name 5 defensive players that they have on their team. The average NFL fan could not name 3 Carolina defenders. 3. And Aaron Rodgers didn't throw for 200. They were weird. They were the opposite of the Bucs this week. They had a really good first half. Everything was clicking. And then the second half, they just fell apart, man. Fell apart. It was disgusting to watch. They looked terrible. Carolina dominated the second half. And I'll say this. If Carolina had a quarterback who could throw in weather, Carolina would have won. Teddy Bridgewater's inability to throw the ball past 6 yards downfield in the cold and in the wind is the reason Carolina lost. Carolina would have won with a quarterback with any sort of arm strength. Okay? But Green Bay, this game is indicative, in my opinion, of what concerns me about Green Bay. Carolina in the second half was able to pressure Aaron Rodgers with Brian Burns and Derek Brown. That's how you frustrate this offense. We saw it last year, and we see it again here. Burns dominated, Brown dominated, and the Packers were stifled. Davante Adams did not have a good game. Not at all. And when Davante Adams doesn't have 100 yards, the Packers struggle to create big plays. Secondly, when Rodgers gets pressured and when the offensive line isn't dominant, the Packers' offense completely falls apart. And I believe it's because when that happens, Rodgers gets in his own head and he starts to lose control and he starts to get upset, and you can clearly see it on his face. This isn't something I'm making up. This is something you can visually see throughout the course of a game. We saw it in the Tampa Bay Bucks game where Ndamukong Suh was getting in his face and getting in his head. And we saw it in this game. The Packers went on a huge stretch of doing absolutely nothing on offense. And again, if the Panthers had a quarterback who could throw the ball, they would have won the game. But that's something I'm worried about, because if you play the Bucks or the Saints in the playoffs, I'm concerned if you're Green Bay. Now, maybe you can get away with it if you play Seattle. Maybe you can get away with it if you play, I wouldn't even say the Rams. Like, the Rams would be able to do the same thing. So when you look at the other three top teams in the NFC, which I believe are Green Bay, the Saints, the Bucks, and the Rams in any order, three of those teams, right, have really good fronts that are able to create pressure with just 4 players. And yes, the Packers beat the Saints. That was early in the year. The Saints defense was still finding itself. I would be concerned, because the game's most likely to be played in Green Bay, I would be concerned about Drew Brees in the elements. But I would be concerned that if the Saints pass rush is as good as it was versus the Chiefs, I think the Packers fall apart on offense. And that is a position they cannot be, because then the Saints can just run the ball and play towards the Packers' defensive weakness and win the game. The Rams, I believe, can scheme up their offense, as we've seen Sean McVay's capability is there. And if Aaron Donald and Brockers and Floyd are having a good game, along with a great secondary of Jalen Ramsey locking down Davante Adams, that's a challenging matchup. And we already saw the Bucks take it to the Packers. So I saw it. You tangibly see it. The Packers versus the Panthers. We saw everything that I believe will be the downfall of the Packers come January. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. If their offensive line plays up to the challenge, they'll be fine. They'll overcome it. But if for some reason their offensive line does not come through and play at 100% and play at a phenomenally high level, they will struggle as a team. Everything. It's not on Aaron Rodgers. It's on the offensive line. Because the offensive line of the Packers is going to dictate how far they go, in my opinion. And that was my takeaway from that Panthers game. I stick by what I said a couple weeks ago. I still have not learned enough about the Packers. because I have not seen them play enough good teams. This week they play the Titans. Now the thing with the Titans is they have a great offense, but their defense is non-existent and they do not feature a pass rush. So it should be a high-scoring affair and Aaron Rodgers should be able to put on a show. But the surprising thing to me was Carolina, of all teams, was giving issues to the Packers. Carolina, that's not nearly the best pass rush in the NFL. I mean, that's a middle-of-the-pack group up front, maybe even below average. And they were able to frustrate Rodgers. So what is it going to be like in January when they play a good pass rush? So I'm just concerned, guys. I'm just going to continue to lay it out there for you. I'm going to lay it out there for you. Let me know what you think in the comments. Next, we have the Buffalo Bills, who on Saturday also looked the exact opposite of Green Bay. Well, Green Bay, looked like some of their flaws were kind of coming out, and we saw maybe some things that might hurt them in January come back to bite them in January. The Buffalo Bills are pretty much continuing to answer all of our questions, and this goes back to the top 10, Ultra and Durkant, featuring them as the number one team in the NFL. Now, I certainly think they deserve to be in the conversation. That's not what I'm saying. Okay, so what I'm saying is there is no reason to not say the Chiefs are the best team. To say the Chiefs are not the best team is disrespectful to the Chiefs. But there is a far argument to be had when it comes to Buffalo, okay? We saw on Saturday, they played the Broncos. The Broncos suck. The Broncos, this was the lock of the year, lock of the century. The Bills won. The Bills covered easily. The Bills blew out Denver in Mile High. It wasn't a challenge. The Broncos were without 4 or 5 of their top corners, okay? Diggs 8, Beasley 8, Allen 8 once again. Allen's an elite quarterback. Their defense is turning things around. They're beating up on bad offenses. It's all nice to see. Okay? The Bills, the thing I want to ask is, can the Bills out Kansas City? Because that's what they're going to have to do. I don't see the Bills being a team where they can play a style that is opposite to the Chiefs. The Bills are basically the Chiefs. What do I mean by this? Both quarterbacks are gunslingers. Both quarterbacks make plays outside the system. Both quarterbacks have incredible arms. They make plays with their legs. They make plays with their arms. They have great passing attacks. They're big strike, explosive offenses. Let's say Cole Beasley is Travis Kelce. Let's say Stephon Diggs is Tyreek Hill. And let's say John Brown, who hasn't played in a few weeks, is Sammy Watkins. All right? The offensive lines are pretty much even. I think Buffalo's slightly better there. The run game's pretty much even. I would give the edge to the Chiefs, though I think it's close. Now, I think the ability for Allen to also contribute as a runner might give them an edge, but it kind of depends on the matchup to me. We've seen the Chiefs have success running. We've seen the Bills have success running, but we've both seen them as below average units in that case. On the flip side, I think the Chiefs defense is underrated. I think they're incredible in terms of weekly game plans. I think Steve Spagnuolo is probably one of the best clutch game planners on the defensive side of the ball of the past decade plus. And every time the Chiefs have been in a big game, he has stopped what you do best. AFC Championship versus Derrick Henry, stop Derrick Henry. Play Tom Brady, frustrate Tom Brady. Whether that was with the Giants or the Chiefs. Play Drew Brees, frustrate Drew Brees. Play the Texans, right? Slow down that passing attack. Slow down DeAndre Hopkins, for example. It just seems like Spagnuolo, every time they play a team, he's able to game plan enough, and he has enough pieces on that side of the ball where they can make it work, and they're incredibly versatile on defense, and schematically can adjust to their opponent, which is nice. The Bills are kind of like that. They're a little different. I think the Bills have more defensive talent. I think the Chiefs have more defensive studs. I think the Bills have more depth. But, like, I don't think the Bills have Chris Jones. I don't think the Bills have Tyrann Mathieu. Like, they have Tre'Davious White. He's excellent. It's tough. The defenses are fairly close. I don't think you could lean either way. Kind of depends on the matchup. I just don't know that I'm at the point where I can say that Josh Allen can outduel Patrick Mahomes. I don't know if I'm at the point where I can say Brian Daboll can out-game plan, out-scheme Andy Reid. Like, I don't think I'm there because I think the Bills need to play the Chiefs game to beat the Chiefs. And I just don't know if that's a strategy you can do. Maybe in a one-game setting you can, but I don't know. Like, on a consistent basis, if they played 10 times, I'd probably pick the Chiefs to win 7. Maybe the Bills win 3. Right? And it's in Kansas City. I will say, I don't think there would be a lean either way in terms of the weather being a factor because they're both used to elements. And both quarterbacks are good in elements. Although I've seen Mahomes play slightly better than Allen in those elements. But it's tough. I mean, it would be a one-possession, tight football game. But I just don't know if we can say head-to-head that they are better than the Chiefs. I think if the Chiefs get knocked off for some reason before the Bills have to play them, then I think the Bills are clearly the favorite from there on out. But if it comes down to an AFC championship between Buffalo and Kansas City, who is better? I think you would have to lean towards Mahomes in that case. Now, are the Bills playing more dominant football right now? Yes. But the team that's proven to me in January that they can do it is Kansas City. So it's an interesting conversation, willing to have it. But again, like, you can't say they're the best right now, but it's perfectly acceptable and probably the correct thing to do if you have them second, which I totally agree. All right. Next topic is the Chiefs. So, Kansas City, New Orleans, this was a potential Super Bowl preview, which a lot of people feel it can still be a Super Bowl preview. I know that Tony Romo has said that like 8 different games this year are a Super Bowl preview. So like if you listen to Tony Romo, you might be a little bit off on what your Super Bowl preview is. But I do believe that most of the NFL experts out there believe the Chiefs and the Saints will be the Super Bowl. Or maybe they believe it will be Chiefs-Packers. But I think this is kind of the consensus. I talked about the stats earlier. I don't understand the people that are saying the Saints, like, I get it. They didn't have Michael Thomas. But would the game actually truly play out that way twice? Like, the Chiefs outgained them by half of their yardage. They were way more successful on third down. The Saints played great defense. They forced them into a lot of third downs. They got a lot of pressure. And they still couldn't stop them. So, like, what truly makes you believe that in a rematch, the Saints would win? Now, I think we learned some things on both sides. I think we learned what I said going into the game, how valuable Michael Thomas is to Drew Brees' production and to this offense. We learned that for sure. If it wasn't already there, it certainly is, especially in a game versus a smart defensive coordinator and a pretty good secondary. They need Michael Thomas, okay? Not every team is going to play them the way the Bucs do and allow them free completions. And it just so happens that Thomas played in both games they played the Bucs. But Kansas City, they ran the ball in the game when the Saints said, hey, run the ball. They were able to do so, okay? Mahomes made ridiculous plays. They also got a lot of pressure on Mahomes, probably more pressure I've seen on Mahomes than I've ever seen another opponent put on the Chiefs. I saw Mahomes running around and throwing the ball away and having to make, kind of crazy throws and things more times than I've seen him versus any other opponent in his career. Hendrickson, Jordan, were in his face. That D-line played amazing. But, it was so frustrating for the Saints defense to the point where they were converting on every third down, where Cameron Jordan had to punch a guy in the face. He was so mad. So, what does that tell you about the Chiefs offense, really? The Saints, they did a good thing, right? They tried to take away the deep ball to Tyreek Hill. They played a lot of two safeties deep outside. You couldn't even see them on the screen. They were so far back. They tried to take away that. They let them eat underneath. But I think we learned that basically, I don't know, if you could get, obviously this is the weakness to any passing attack, but if you could get a 4-man rush, if you could really just take away the big plays and force a lot of third downs, at least you have a chance. In comparison to the Bucks game, the Bucks have the same ability, technically, to the Saints, and they did that in the second half and kind of stifled the Chiefs' offense, but they allowed in the first half, big plays to Tyreek Hill, and they kind of let Tyreek Hill just go off for 250 yards. That's what you can't do, right? But on the flip side, I just don't know if Drew Brees has it anymore. My problem with the Saints is going to be, and my confidence is shaken in the Saints, where I just don't feel Drew Brees is going to be able to week in and week out in January make things happen for this offense. I think the Saints are a Super Bowl team, but I don't have enough confidence in Drew Brees to give them that Super Bowl, to win them that Super Bowl. His arm, I know he's not 100%, but his arm, we knew it was a weakness all along. The last 2 seasons, really. It looked worse than it's ever looked last week. They don't really seem to have that running game that they've had in the past. And I just, it makes me really question the NFC, because I think going into this game, I thought the Saints with Brees were comfortably the best team. But Brees is the problem. He is the weakness. It's sad to see, because when the Saints weren't good in other areas, Brees a lot of the time was carrying this team. Sean Payton and him were carrying this team. And now it's the reverse. I think the team is carrying Drew Brees. Will the Saints get enough from Brees come January to be able to win consistently? It's almost like comparing it to Jared Goff, where Jared Goff can be really good in one game, but can Drew Brees or Jared Goff be really good in 2 or 3 games? In one game, Brees is going to suck, and you have to deal with it. You have to be able to overcome it. Is it going to be versus Green Bay? Is it going to be versus Seattle? Is it going to be versus the Rams? Is it going to be versus the Bucks? Is it going to be versus who? It's going to come. Is it going to be in the Super Bowl? It's going to come. Can the Saints overcome it? That's what I learned in this game more than anything. More than the Saints being able to pass rush and get after Mahomes. More than, the Chiefs kind of fumbling a game and nearly losing. The thing I learned most was I don't know if Brees is good enough anymore where the Saints can win the Super Bowl. That's what I learned in this game. I think that's my biggest takeaway. Let me know if you guys learned something different from the game. But I feel that the Chiefs dominated the game. They made some mistakes. Therefore, the Saints were able to keep it close. They're a good football team. But if Brees was better, they would have won, because the Chiefs allowed them to possibly win the game. But Brees was bad, and that's why they lost. That's why they lost. So let's flip to another old quarterback, Tom Brady. So Tom Brady comes back once again for the second time versus the Atlanta Falcons, down double digits. This time, Brady was down 17-0 and 24-7. and was able to come back and win 31-27, connecting with Antonio Brown for the game-winning score. A dot. Guys, I honestly feel like Tom Brady has had an underrated season this year. I know there's a lot of Brady haters out there, and there's probably quite a few in this chat right now. Tom Brady, at 43 years old, think about what he has done this year. He left a team that he was with for 20 years. 20 years. He is 43. We've never seen a quarterback play well at all past the age of 41. He's 43. He has a new coach, a new set of receivers, a new offense. He didn't take his offense to Tampa Bay. It's a new offense. It's Arians' offense. Okay? He has a new team, a new city, a new home. And Tom Brady is playing better than he played last year. Tom Brady is still a top 5 passer in football this year. At 43, he has been underrated this year. And let me tell you what I'm talking about using a nice little graphic I made for you guys. So this is Tom Brady's 2020 performance. The team that was 7-9 a year ago is now 9-5. Okay? Keep in mind that before the year, a lot of people were saying that Brady would throw a lot of interceptions, have a lot of turnovers, because that's what happens with Bruce Arians. You can look back, that's a statistical fact. Bruce Arians quarterbacks in their first year are dreadful turning the ball over. They have turned the ball over, Jameis Winston, 30 times interceptions, at nearly 40 turnovers in total. Right? Andrew Luck turned the ball over a lot. Big Ben turned the ball over a lot in their first year under Arians. Brady, only 11 interceptions this year, which is really good in Tampa Bay's system that asks the quarterback to throw the ball down the field. And that is statistically evident. Brady has the second highest intended air yards this year per attempt. Second highest. He also has the second highest intended air yards in general. So that means Tom Brady, what is he being asked to do? Brady is being asked to throw the ball down the field at 43 years old. Everybody before this season said Tom Brady didn't have an arm, except if you watch this channel, specifically a couple videos I made throughout the offseason, I told you that was not true. I told you that he didn't have the offensive line. He didn't have the weapons. Okay, this year he has a good offensive line. He has good weapons. He has a bad scheme, but he has enough talent around him to make it work. And he's playing at a very elite level as a passer this year. He is being asked to throw the football downfield more than any quarterback in the league this year. He's 43. Again. Okay? So the yardage total, he's top 5. 5th in yards. He has more yards than Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, Justin Herbert, and Kyler Murray. He is 4th in touchdowns. More than Ben, Tannehill, Watson, and Kyler. He has 32 passing touchdowns, 35 total touchdowns. He has a 97.5 passer rating. He has 3 fourth quarter comebacks, which is tied for the second most in the NFL. This team without Tom Brady, simply put, is not a playoff team. Okay? They are not. Without 2 of Tom Brady's comebacks, 3 of Tom Brady's comebacks, they're not a playoff team. The players have spoken about his leadership. They've spoken about how good, how smart he is. And when you look at even, okay, so he had all of these hurdles to climb, right? All these mountains to climb. New offense, no offseason, new targets, new offensive line, new team, new city, all of that stuff, new division, new conference. He also has the toughest schedule outside of Russell Wilson of any good quarterback in the league, any elite quarterback in the league. He had the 10th toughest schedule of defenses this year. When you look at the quarterbacks in the MVP conversation, they all have easy schedules. Mahomes has played the 26th toughest schedule, 6th easiest schedule. Aaron Rodgers has played this 22nd easiest schedule. Tannehill's played 21st easiest schedule. Josh Allen has played the 13th, which is fairly tough. But Tom Brady has played a tougher schedule than Mahomes, Rodgers, Tannehill, and Allen. Brady was in a new offense. Rodgers was not. Mahomes was not. Wilson was not. Allen was not. Tannehill was not. Watson was not. Ben was not. Kyler was not. The only guy I guess is comparable are the rookies and Phillip Rivers, even though Phillip Rivers has recognition of the Frank Reich system because he was an offensive coordinator. So he is putting up numbers that are comparable to Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson, Justin Herbert, better than Justin Herbert, better than Kyler, right? Better than Ben, comparable to Tannehill. He's 43. He's all of these things to overcome. So Tom Brady, when I say he's a top 10 quarterback, he's a top 10 quarterback. It's there. It's evident. And if you don't believe me, ask the freaking Patriots. Okay? The Patriots are about to go 7-9, most likely. Maybe 8-8. Okay? And the Bucs are going to go 11-5. And Tom Brady is a top 5 statistical quarterback, in my opinion, a top 10 quarterback this year. So all the things are there. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, people that say, "Oh, he's thrown these interceptions," he's thrown every interception except for 2. He's thrown 9 interceptions in 4 games. He had 4 games where he made some bad decisions. And if you go back and watch every single one of his interceptions, I guarantee you 80% of them were because of communication, because he's in a new offense, all the things I just brought up. So if you I don't know what else to tell you. You can continue to hate all you want, but the fact that this guy is playing this well at this age is something we've never seen before, and I feel like is being overlooked and not talked about enough. Now, I see ESPN is talking about it yesterday and today now, all of a sudden, but we have to think that it's ridiculous what he's doing. Nobody will ever do it. Ever. Ever. I just think it needs to be brought up. Okay? There will never be a quarterback with tougher circumstances. And we've never seen a player at this age play this well. Ever. I don't even know any sport. So, it's pretty special. And I think he's been criticized. He's been critiqued. He's been hated on this year. But actually put it into perspective. He's 43. And he has the 4th most touchdowns in the NFL. He has 35 touchdowns this year. 35. So, just saying. 400 yards versus Atlanta. Now let's talk about the Patriots. Patriots were eliminated. It's tough to see. Now, I mean, I would say since 5 weeks ago, I kind of saw this coming. Because the Patriots were on a downward trajectory, and it just didn't seem to be working out. But I think we got a good indication of just how lack of talented this team is. I don't think it really... a lot of people... I don't even know. Again, guys, Patriots fans are stupid. Okay, New England is stupid. I'm going to put it out there. Okay, the media talking about, is Bill Belichick the guy to recreate this team, to rebuild this team? Are you guys serious? Are you guys serious? Bill Belichick. Do you guys recognize how poorly talented this team is? I get it that it's partly Belichick's fault. But I believe I said it last week, and I'll say it again. The only reason this team is not the Jets is because of Bill Belichick. So just imagine what Bill Belichick will be able to do with top 3 in cap space this year. This whole offseason of the draft and free agency to be able to recraft this team in his new image. The Patriots are going to be in the playoffs next year. I'll say this right now. You guys can clip this. You guys can do whatever you want with it. The Patriots will be in the playoffs next year. I'm looking straight at the webcam, straight at the camera. The Patriots will be in the playoffs in 2022. Okay? They will. Now, I think a lot of people want to know, like, where do they go next? Like, what's the next? What went wrong? Where do they go next? Is Cam the guy? Are they moving on from Cam? Are they drafting somebody? I don't know what they're doing next. Now, Cam Newton posted an Instagram post, him saying, like, you know, he takes responsibility for the Patriots not making the playoffs, and he takes responsibility for this team not reaching its potential. And, you know, all I have to say to that is, like, that's just an example of the leader Cam has been. And that's why, even though he's played poorly at times this year, I've never been on Cam to say he's the reason for the team sucking, because he's not. Okay, he's not. But, I mean, he hasn't been great. There's no way around it. But just to have a guy, whether he's here next year or not, for that accountability after Tom Brady, I think was important. And I would love to see him back on a low contract, because the way I look at it is, if from a team building perspective, would I rather have Cam Newton for $10 million or, you know, another average guy for $20 million? Like, I feel like because of the rapport you have built and because of the camaraderie you have built with Cam Newton, this roster, this organization, this team, Bill Belichick, all this stuff, you have built, what's the word? Like a faith. I feel like Cam Newton feels a certain type of way because the way he was mistreated in the offseason of not being awarded a contract, of getting money and all this stuff. Like, I feel like he almost feels like this is the team that believed in me, and I'll come back to them even for a lower contract than what's on the market. So I think Cam Newton will be back for a lower contract, and that Instagram post makes me believe that will be the case. Now, keep in mind that Cam Newton, just like Tom Brady, and in many ways worse than Tom Brady, okay, had more challenges, right? He doesn't have the talent around him that Tom Brady has, but he's had to come in this season with less than an offseason than Brady had. Brady was working out with his teammates, you know, in May, in April. Cam got there in August. Cam was having to learn Josh McDaniels and Bill Belichick's system in August. And then on top of that, he loses his number one target, Julian Edelman, 2 to 3 weeks into the season. He has to build rapport with Jacoby Myers on the fly. Build rapport with N'Keal Harry on the fly. N'Keal Harry, who's terrible, okay? They don't have a tight end. They don't have a passing offense. So for people to say that the quarterback is the lone reason the Patriots are not in the playoffs, again, it's quarterback syndrome. I've been over this. Has Cam been great? No. But is he the lone reason they have not made the playoffs this year? No. The Patriots over the last 2 weeks, just the last 2 weeks, have given up 400 yards rushing. 400 yards rushing. 400! They gave up 250 yards to the worst run game in the NFL last week. 250 yards to Ahmed or Ahmad or however you say his name. 250 rushing yards to the Miami Dolphins. Cam with an offseason. I would like Cam back if we get him on the cheap. And he gets a full offseason to learn the offense. We put some talent around him at wide receiver and at tight end. And I think this team can be good. Because like I've said many times, they're not that many players away from being a good team because Cam Newton is a serviceable quarterback who gives you a different threat, and they have major issues elsewhere. Their bigger issues than Cam this year have been receiver, tight end, and defensive line. You know, as much as you want to get on Cam or the quarterback play of the Patriots this year, there are bigger issues. Wide receiver, tight end, and defensive line. You can't play the style that the Patriots are being asked to play on offense when you can't stop the run. If the Patriots were able to stop the run and set an edge once in a while, they might have won one of these games. They might have beat the Rams. They might have beat the Dolphins. So their talent is so depleted. It tells me it's talent because there is no way Bill Belichick, week in and week out, is going to look at this tape and say, yeah, we don't need to worry about run defense. Like, Bill Belichick has never gone a full season of not being able to stop the run. So, build it. We have the cap space. Get a linebacker. Hopefully Dante Hightower comes back. That would be nice. Hopefully Patrick Chung comes back. That would be nice. But get some linebackers. Get some defensive linemen. We have a teens draft pick. Get a receiver. Get a tight end. The offensive line is studly. You have a running back. You even have a secondary receiver in Jacoby Myers. You have a good secondary already. You'll be fine in those areas. Bill Belichick's going to rebuild this team. And like I said, the Patriots will be back in the playoffs. Whether it's with Cam or not, it doesn't have to be with Cam. I'm just saying it's not all Cam's fault because I need to defend the guy because everyone else is getting on him. But I would like an upgrade, okay? I think if you were able to get Matthew Stafford, I would love that. I'd be all in on that. Because I know that Matthew Stafford, with better coaching than he's ever had in his career, would put up near MVP numbers and be awesome. Okay? I don't think, they would go after like Matt Ryan, but I think Matt Ryan would be an upgrade, obviously, but I don't think they would go after him. I don't want Jimmy. I'm past that guy. I don't think Belichick does either. I wouldn't mind a rookie, but I don't think this team is far away. Now, if you could trade up and get a guy in the top 10 at quarterback, I'd be in for that as well. But I'm just telling you, this team isn't far away with the coaching they have to getting back to where they want to be. Because if Cam is back, and yes, he's not 2015 Cam, okay? He's not 2015 Cam. He can't just overcome not having anything around him. He needs some help. Okay? But he's still a serviceable quarterback. He's looked bad because any quarterback would look bad in these circumstances. And I believe the Instagram posts let us know that if the team wants him back, he intends to be back, and I don't think he'll be asking for a lot of money. All right, so the Patriots have been eliminated. Moving forward, they are not going to be a joke. They will be around. They will be competitive because with Bill Belichick, they will be competitive. It's as simple as that. It only takes one offseason in the NFL to get back, guys. We've seen it too many times, especially with who the Patriots have. All right. So, the NFC, it is a terrible conference this year. There's no way around it. But who would be the most dangerous number 7 seed? There are 3 teams that could potentially be the number 7 seed this year. The Arizona Cardinals, the Chicago Bears, and the Minnesota Vikings. 2 teams in the NFC North, 1 team in the NFC West. We've seen all of these teams have bright spots, and we've seen them have their downfalls, right? The Bears had this stretch where they look like a bottom 5 team in the league. The Cardinals have had a stretch where Kyler Murray hasn't been playing well, And then Minnesota has kind of been up and down all year long, and they've just kind of been average all year. They were pretty bad at the beginning of the year. Who would be the most dangerous? That's a tough question because, honestly, I think it would be between Chicago and Arizona. And the reason I say that is because I don't think Minnesota's defense is any good at all. Any good at all. I don't think they're stopping anyone come playoff time. And the way they play offense, while they might have the best offense of all these teams, I guess Arizona's is probably statistically better. But, they can ball control. Kirk Cousins can get hot. They have good receivers. But the way they play, the style that they play, I don't think is a threat to any of these teams. But I think that Chicago, even though they have Mitch Trubisky, who's been playing better as of late, the way their offense is performing right now, if they can perform like that in the playoffs, I feel like at least they got a good defense and they can play a tough style of play where they can make things kind of competitive. In Arizona, they have the best quarterback of the 3 teams. But I don't think Arizona is well-rounded, so to speak. And I do think they get out-coached quite often. So I don't think any of them are a legitimate threat to do something in the playoffs. But if I had to choose between Chicago, Arizona, and Minnesota, I would rank the Vikings last because I just don't believe in their defense. And their offensive line gets overwhelmed far too often. And the Bears just beat them. Second, it's tough. I think it's almost a tie because I could see Kyler Murray, if he's healthy, having an incredible performance and making it tough on a team. Chicago's the most well-rounded right now, in my opinion. But I think I would have to lean towards Arizona just because of the quarterback. Because, it's tough. Both of them, I don't see any of these teams, to clarify, I don't see any of these teams winning a playoff game. But if I had to choose one, at least the Cardinals can score. If Kyler's playing really well, they have the capability of putting up 27 to 30 points. They beat Seattle, they beat Buffalo, they've hung in versus good teams. And if Kyler is healthy, he can make plays and he can make it close. The Bears would have to win in a different way. They would have the game be slow, bogged down, and win a defensive game. That's how they would have to win. I feel I think Chicago matches up better with the Rams. But I feel Arizona matches up better with the probably the Seahawks, team like that. So I don't know how that would go, right? So it depends who gets the 3rd seed or the 2nd seed. The 2nd seed. So the 2nd seed is rather going to be New Orleans, Green Bay, Seattle, I believe. Only those 3 teams can be the 2nd seed. So New Orleans and LA. Do I think Chicago would be a tougher matchup for New Orleans? I think they're a tougher matchup for LA. But I don't know if they're a tougher matchup for New Orleans. That one's interesting. For Seattle, I think Arizona is a tougher matchup. Personally. So it's really close. Any given Sunday, but Yeah, I just don't know if the NFC has that much depth this year. But the most dangerous, I'd probably slightly lean towards Arizona over Chicago. Now that opens up the conversation in the rest of the NFC to ask the question of who is the best team in the NFC. We talked about earlier about the Saints, their flaw of Drew Brees, right? And Green Bay, their flaw of the offensive line is going to take them as far as they go. And of course, we know that when teams can run the ball versus them, they're in a tough spot. So it's going to be a matchup NFC. We know this. Who's the best team in the NFC? The Rams just lost to the Jets. The Bucs look spectacular and look horrible in the same game every week. The Seahawks have been kind of just getting by. The Packers, probably the quarterback playing the best football. You know, they're the number 1 seed. New Orleans, they might be the most well-rounded. No NFC East team is in this conversation. I think any of the 5 teams can win the NFC. The top 5 seeds. I think any of those teams can win the NFC. The way I see it breaking down is I think it's ultimately going to be the Bucs versus the Packers in the NFC divisional in Green Bay. And I think it's going to be the Saints and the Rams. I think the Seahawks will lose to the Rams in the first round. Whether the Seahawks win the division or not, I think the Rams are the better team. Now, the Rams and the Saints, I think, would be a really interesting game. Because I think both defenses give the opposing offenses a lot of issues. And it would come down to which quarterback plays mistake-free football, makes more big plays, and which coach comes up with the better offensive approach. I think the Rams' defense is slightly better than the Saints, but both of them are equally dangerous. The game would be played in New Orleans, but that doesn't really matter. So it's in a perfect environment. We know both quarterbacks are better in those situations. And it's tough. Like, that game would be awesome. I think it would be a slugfest. Man, I really don't know who would win that game. That's just fascinating. Like, that's a Final Four I want to see. You know, on the flip side, I think the Bucs are a tough matchup for Green Bay. And the thing is, you know, if it's cold, you know, Tom Brady's used to that. Aaron Rodgers is used to that. That would be a great battle. Obviously, we've never seen them in a playoff game. Shady McCoy in the snow, maybe. Who knows? But I think it would be fun. I would lean towards the Bucs in that matchup, personally. But the way that it looks like it's going to go is Tampa Bay will finish the last 2 games 2-0, and they will get the 5 seed. Washington looks to get the 4 seed, and that will be a first-round matchup. I think the Rams will beat Seattle, so I think the Rams will get the 3rd seed over Seattle. That would force Seattle into the 6th seed, and the 7th seed is most likely going to be Arizona. It could be Chicago, one of those 2 teams. They'll be in and they'll play New Orleans. That's the way I think it's going to go. But we'll see. But I really don't know. Like, I just kind of wanted to talk this through. I didn't intend this segment to be me giving you an answer because I honestly don't know yet. But I just wanted to talk it through because I've been going through these situations in my head because I'm a nerd like that. And I've been thinking, you know, what if this team played this team, if this seed matched this seed? So it's tough. Yeah, let me know what you guys think. All right. The Jets. Now, speaking of the Rams, they lost their matchup this week to the New York Jets. Talk about a shocker. Talk about an upset of the year. The New York Jets. Guys, just like I did for the Eagles, get ready. Get your videos ready. Get your recorders ready. Jets, Jets. Let's go, baby. One win. I was cheering for the Jets so hard in this game because my opponent in fantasy had a couple of Rams, so I was rooting against them. And then on top of that, you had the New York Jets who just blew the chance for Trevor Lawrence, who could be a generational quarterback. Absolutely incredible stuff. But in my opinion, I wanted to see the Jets win a game. I never want to see a team lose every game in a season. That is just absolutely painful to watch, and it's bad on the NFL. It's bad for the NFL. This game was incredible. I think this game showed a couple of things. I think it showed the absolute spectrum of what the Rams can be. The Rams can be awesome, and they can be absolutely dreadful. Like, that's the Rams for you. They can lose to the Jets. They can beat the Seahawks and the Bucks, right? That's the Rams. They have such a wide spectrum thanks to Jared Goff pooping himself each and every week and the lack of attention to detail from their team. And I think it stems down from their quarterback performance. I heard a story that Sean McVay called Adam Gase before the game. That's crazy. That's crazy. He said, your team's fighting hard for you. Like, who does that? I get it. Like, it's respectful. It was a good thing on Sean McVay. But just wait till after the game. Like, if we know anything, that could have been bullet board material. I don't know. But that's just a weird story. I've never heard anything like that before. Like, a coach saying to the other coach, like, calling him up in the middle of the week and being like, your team's playing hard for you. Like, good job. I've never heard that before. That's kind of weird. But yeah, the Jets won a game. I just wanted to say that. It was fun to watch. I think Sam Darnold played really well. I think he had his best game of the season. And honestly, he might have saved his job. And the way I look at it is, the Jets are probably in a spot where they keep Sam Darnold now. Now that they don't have the first pick, they keep Sam Darnold and they build around him and see potentially with a better team next year and a better coach, if he can still be the guy. I mean, I don't see why not. I mean, you're not winning the division next year. You're the fourth best team in this division. You're the worst team in this division for the next 2 years. So, might as well see if Sam Darnold's the guy next year. And he saved his job. So, good for him. Steelers are up next. Oh boy. I need some water before I do this. Get all the snot on my nostrils. What's going on, guys, in the chat? Make sure you do Gronk spike that like button if you haven't already. All right. Bitch. Corvette. Hop in a motherfucking jet like jet. Juju. You, no disrespect. Juju. You are not T.O. You are not Chad Johnson. If anything, you're closer to Bethel Johnson, Juju. You're not Chad Johnson. You're not Chad Ochocinco. You're not T.O. Okay? You cannot talk and then walk. You cannot talk the talk and walk the walk. You aren't him. You aren't T.O. You aren't Randy Moss. Okay? You cannot talk the talk and walk the walk. So stop talking! Stop dancing! I've said it for 2 years. Juju is overrated. He's trash. Talk about overrated. Talk about detrimental to your team. Juju Smith-Schuster is the biggest clown in the NFL. Corvette. Bro. I'm glad you got smacked in the face. I'm glad you got punished for your stupid antics. You're not a Hall of Famer. Chad Johnson would dance and then proceed to score. You do nothing. So stop trying to be something you are not. You're not that good. When you're that good, you can do these things. You're not that good. Juju is an example of what the Steelers are. This is the softest. I'm talking about Charmin soft. This is the softest Steelers team in the history of Steeler football. This team is an absolute cloud. I would welcome this Steelers team into my backyard. Any team that has to play this Steelers team in the playoffs is sleeping well at night. This team is a joke. The Steelers are soft. They're weak. They suck. Bro, this team is a joke. They were undefeated. Undefeated. What do you think? What do you think Mean Joe would say about this Steelers team? You got ran over like a Corvette on Monday Night Football by the Bengals. You got smacked in the mouth by the Bengals. The Bengals, guys. Not Ray Lewis. Not Ed Reed. Not the Patriots with Tom Brady. Not even Vontaze Burfict. You got ran over by Ryan Finley and the Bengals. What? You were 15-point favorites. Division on the fucking line. And you get run over, smacked in the mouth. Maurice Alexander is high-stepping on you. This man, Alexander, is high-stepping after an interception. I have never seen this in my life. This man was so disrespectful to you. He high-stepped on you after intercepting the pass. And you didn't do anything. You didn't go after him. You didn't hit him. You didn't punch him. Instead, we're TikTok stars. Juju, Claypool. I get it. You want to get your shine? Cool, man. But at least if you want to have your shine, back it up. If you want to be some TikTok star, at least show up during the games you play. I mean, if you're not gonna show up, leave the TikTok to the 17, 18-year-old girls, okay? Like, come on, man. Really? This man was high-stepping. You played the Bengals. I thought the Bengals, truthfully, were the worst team in the league. And you lost to the worst team in the league. Ben looked awful. Big Ben. And this is you think any other quarterback would allow this? You think he's a Hall of Fame quarterback. He's allowing his team to be soft and out. Like, where is the leadership from Big Ben? Where? You're not talking to your team? Nobody's talking to Juju before the game saying you probably shouldn't be stunting on the other guy's logo? Bro, man, like, Ben, get a hold of your team. Mike Tomlin, coach of the year, get that garbage out of here. Where's his leadership? It didn't take him till halftime. I thought Mike Tomlin was the almighty leader of all men. I thought he was the toughest SOB since Stone Cold Steve Austin. Why doesn't he have some sort of toughness? Where's the identity of Steeler football here? The Steelers, they have been built. Pittsburgh's been built on toughness, on grit, on smacking the other team in the face. This Steelers team can't gain a yard versus the Bengals on 4th down. They don't even run a quarterback sneak because they don't think they'll make it. Are you kidding me? This team is supposed to win the Super Bowl? This team the best team in the league? What? Ben is selfish, man. There's no way around it. He doesn't lead the team. What is this offense? Every second run is a negative 5-yard run. I have never seen a worse run attack in my life than this Steelers team. The supposed Pro Bowl center snaps the ball on the turf, turns the ball over. The defense, that's this almighty defense, couldn't stop Ryan Finley on a read option. Really? I just can't believe you got out-physicaled, beat up, smacked in the mouth by the fucking Bengals. You think you're gonna win the Super Bowl? You think you can TikTok dance? And meanwhile not show up? Bro, this is a grown man's sport, a grown man's league. These guys have pride on the other side. You don't think they saw you do that? And you're not gonna... Meanwhile, the offense is a joke. Ben's missing guys, throwing suicide passes left and right, trying to get his guys killed. Randy Fichtner or whatever his name is can't draw up a motion. This guy doesn't know how to motion players. They don't know what play action is. They got Benny the Snail running the football. They don't get the ball to their best player, Chase Claypool, till like the third quarter. What? The Steelers are awful. Awful. Terrible. Dreadful. This isn't the Steelers. They shouldn't be allowed to wear that logo. They shouldn't be allowed to be called the Steelers until they can gain a yard running the football. Where's Jerome Bettis? Where's Franco Harris? Give me Willie Parker. Who's this guy? Where's James Harrison? Where's Casey Hampton? Where's James Ferrier? Where's Troy Polamalu? Where's Ham Lambert? What is this team? Bunch of clowns. Team's trash. Fucking done with this team. I hate this team. Can't stand this team. I'm done. Fucking garbage. Lose to the Bengals? The Bengals? With Ryan Finley? I don't even think he'll win another game in his career. The Bengals. Lose to the Bengals. Whoever plays them in the first round, I mean, just give them the win. The Steelers don't even need to show up. Game's over, as far as I'm concerned. Steelers win. Steelers going to lose by 50. All right. Man. Okay. What's next? All right. So, let's talk about the Pro Bowl snubs. So, I made a video reacting to the Pro Bowl rosters in the AFC and the NFC. And it was well received. Thank you guys for watching it. If you haven't already checked it out, make sure you do go check it out. I wrote down all of the guys that you guys commented that you thought were snubs. So what I mean here, your Pro Bowl snubs, these are the names that I saw most commonly in the comments, and I'm going to read off the names that you guys felt were the biggest Pro Bowl snubs. And I will be making a video of the personal snubs that I believe were the top. I didn't want to do it here in this video because I want to do it a little bit more formally as a video. Like I want to have more editing and stuff like that. So these are the names that I saw the most commonly in the comments from you guys. DeForest Buckner was the highest voted of all players. DeForest Buckner has been awesome this year, and I totally agree. Roquan Smith, Devin White, and Levante David as linebackers were all mentioned commonly in the comments. James Robinson at running back over Jacobs was mentioned. Robert Tonyan over Evan Ingram was mentioned commonly. Justin Herbert was mentioned a few times. Jordan Poyer, the safety, was mentioned a few times. Brian Burns was mentioned. Allen Robinson, Terry McLaurin, and Calvin Ridley were mentioned over Justin Jefferson. Trey Hendrickson, obviously, mentioned. That was crazy. I can't believe he didn't make it. Byron Jones and J.C. Jackson were both mentioned in the comments. Byron Jones by Durkant. Akeem Hicks also was mentioned in the comments at nose tackle or defensive tackle. Jesse Bates was mentioned. at free safety and Ali Marpet at guard. So those are your guys' biggest Pro Bowl snubs. I went through all the comments, and those are the ones that you guys said most commonly. So, yeah, I agree. I agree with your comments, and I'll be making a video on my personal biggest snubs. Obviously, I mentioned quite a few of them that I would replace, but I'm going to give you kind of like lock and loaded guys that I would have replaced in the Pro Bowl with like suggestion for the snub for each position. So, there you go. Your Pro Bowl snubs. And let's finish off with a sneak peek towards week number 16 before we get to your comments. So, let's check out week 16. On Friday, Christmas. Everybody have a Merry Christmas. Vikings at the New Orleans Saints, which is always undoubtedly a great game. I don't expect it to be any different. I'm actually really excited for this game. I thought the Saints would blow them out a couple weeks ago, but the Vikings play them always pretty well. And I will say this. The Saints offense, the way they looked last week, makes me concerned that this might be a potential upset by the Vikings. Because the Vikings have proven that they can run the ball on anybody. It doesn't matter. Chicago, Tampa Bay, doesn't really matter. So, Vikings, they'll be competitive in this game. They're fighting for their playoff lives. I think this is a great Christmas game. I'm excited. Saturday, we have the Bucs and the Lions. So, the Bucs versus Stafford. My two favorite quarterbacks. We have the 49ers and the Cardinals. 49ers trying to play spoiler, but Cardinals favored by 4 in that game. We have the Dolphins and Raiders, which should be an excellent game. The Raiders still trying to fight for a spot, but they're realistically out. But the Dolphins, huge game for them. That's a good game. Saturday, 3 games. That'll be pretty fun on Boxing Day for me, Canadian Boxing Day. December 27th, which is the Sunday, we have Giants-Ravens, which is a huge game for both teams. See if the Ravens can continue their role. See if the Giants can stay alive. We have the Atlanta Falcons. How can they blow a lead to the Chiefs in this game? The Colts and Steelers. Go Colts. F the Steelers. What else we got? Rams, Seahawks. That's a huge game in the NFC West. I think the Rams are going to win. They're actually underdogs, though. The Titans and the Packers, which is the game of the week on Sunday Night Football. Matt LaFleur versus old team. Arthur Smith, that will be a good one. Derrick Henry versus Aaron Rodgers. Monday Night Football, Bills, Patriots, in New England. New England trying to play spoiler. So that will be fun. I think that will be a fun game. I think that is a game where the Bills should win. But if the Bills can win that game in a blowout, I think that really does tell you how good Buffalo is. Because I don't expect New England to roll over in that game. Like, I think they're going to be competitive in that game. I'll be picking Buffalo to win. But, like, it should be a good game. It should be competitive. Especially because New England has played Buffalo really well over the years. So, even this season. So, like, that game will be good. But the games of the week to me are the Titans, the Packers, the Rams, the Seahawks, Colts and Steelers, and the Dolphins and the Raiders, as well as Vikings and Saints. So quite a few good games this week, and a lot of, obviously, playoff, crucial, turning point type of games. So there it is, the bottom line for week 15. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, Gronk, spike that like button. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already for more. And I should mention that you guys should also join our Discord. Link is in the description. Join the BLV community with a bunch of other passionate NFL fans where you can talk about the NFL daily or other things. Like, we're talking about soccer in there. We talk about basketball in there. We talk about movies in there. We talk about a lot of different stuff. So make sure you join that Discord if you want to get closer to the BLV community. Everybody's in there. Me, Ultra, Durkant, Turtle, Busboy, occasionally Nicholas. But yeah, a lot of guys are in there. Lenny's in there all the time. So check out the community on Discord. And the Patreon as well. I don't have a graphic for it, I don't believe here, but check out the Patreon. Link is also in the description. Starts at $3 a month. You can get my best bets, my bets every week. I did well on Patreon. Like, if you looked at my Patreon bets, I did really well. Like, I made over $500 this week. But on my best bets video, I did poorly. So that just tells you that that's why you should subscribe to Patreon and not just go off my best bets video. So check that out. Yeah. If you guys have any questions, it is now time for questions. So you can also follow me on my personal socials on Twitter at Mitch Milani, as well as Instagram at Mitch Milani. I tweet all the time. That's probably a better place to follow me. So yeah, if you guys have any questions for me now, get in that live comment section and let me know. Nicholas, you got to get in the Discord, bro. You can't be so sensitive all the time. Yeah, Nicholas wouldn't be the most hated. I think Monty is up there. I know Durkant's not a fan of Monty. Nicholas is too sensitive. What's your favorite for the NFC East? Washington. Ultra says we should just invite all the people that matter to the other server, escape from the weirdos. Do I play RuneScape? No. Nicholas thinks Tannehill's better than Allen, which I would disagree. Unknown says Patriots should re-sign Cam. Seahawks Lions fan says, what uniforms are the Saints wearing? I don't know. Samuel says, what's the biggest problem you have for Pro Bowl selections? Like, in terms of the process, I think the process is flawed in terms of I like the idea of fan voting. That's why you always have to look at all pro selections over Pro Bowl, because at least all pro selections, it's done by writers, it's done by professionals. It's not done by fans, because fans don't know, like, who's the best center in the NFL. Like, not a lot of fans know that. They know their own center, but they don't know the Jaguars center. They don't know the Bengals center. You know what I mean? So I think fan voting just overall is flawed. Brian says, Mitch, what do you think Tomlin should do about TikToks? See, I don't think the TikToks are the problem. Now, I would say don't be dancing on another team's logo. If you want to dance on another team's logo, you better play as well as T.O. and score 2 touchdowns. Okay? If you want to TikTok before the game, play well. That's my advice. Okay? Don't get smacked in the mouth and then stunted on and get beat by Alexander. Okay? Ultra says, Mitch, what do you make of the turnover in the Seahawks defense over the last half of the season? I think they've gelled together talent-wise, because at the beginning of the year, although they do play kind of a simple system, I think they've added a pass rusher in Carlos Dunlap. But I just think overall, Jamal Adams, Quandre Diggs, all their players have meshed together, along with getting a better pass rush, understanding how to use Jamal Adams a little bit better. And I think their playmakers have been taking over, but they've also haven't really played many good defense or offenses. Like, you kind of know how I think about defenses nowadays. It's like, who are you playing on offense? Right? They've played Washington, the Jets, the Giants, the Eagles with Carson Wentz, Cardinals, which was a fairly good game, and that's about it, right? So, yes, their defense has been better, but I'd still like to see it versus a better offense. Top 3 worst AFC defenses? Jags. Titans, maybe? Let me think about that. Texans, Jags. Raiders, Titans. I think that's it. Carson Wentz is a big baby. I agree. I don't know why he's talking like that. Wish says Tom Brady was a Pro Bowl snub. He's 43 years old, taking the Bucs to the playoffs since first time since 2007. And lastly, Ryan Jensen is the best center in the NFC. We'll add Wish to the screen here over top my face. No, I'll just put it right there. Thank you for the super chat, man. I appreciate it. And I don't know if I necessarily agree, but I do agree in terms of Tom Brady has been underrated this season. I agree with that. Singh says, Mitch, we better have a good quarterback matchup in the Super Bowl. I hope so. Best defense in the NFC? I think it's the Rams. Unknown says, should the Seahawks re-sign Chris Carson or draft and keep other backs? What do you mean by other backs? I would... should the Seahawks re-sign Chris Carson or draft and keep other backs? It depends how much he's asking for. Like, I never like to overpay running backs, especially ones that are injured as often as Chris Carson, but he's a good player. Like, if you can get him for a serviceable contract that won't break the bank, then I'm all for it. But if, you have to pay him top tier money, I'd move on. Isaac says, what did Carson Wentz say? He's asking for a trade. He's mad, like, already. Like, just wait till the offseason, man. Like, I don't understand why he's trying to cause friction at this moment when the team's trying to fight for a playoff spot. But that's just my personal opinion. Do I think that Tomlin should take Juju's phone? No. He's a grown man. Samuel says, when's the MVP video dropping? Oh, MVP video. Hopefully soon. I haven't even started doing it yet. So hopefully like Thursday or Friday. Maybe it will be on Christmas. We'll see. Nicholas says, why wouldn't he want to be traded? He should want to be traded. But I think the timing of being a nuisance is a bad timing. Is what I'm trying to say. Like, be more of a teammate, wait, and then ask for a trade. Opium says, which quarterback should we get? Anyone. I don't know. I would say, like, I don't know. That's tough. It depends how much you have to pay them. But it's tough with Jared Goff there. I think, if you could get Stafford or Ryan, I do think they're upgrades. But, like, how big of an upgrade is Matt Ryan over Jared Goff? Probably a decent upgrade, but, like, is it worth, the cap problem that you may have there? Who else would be available? Maybe Kirk Cousins. If Kirk Cousins were available, I would consider that. Doug says Odell is the biggest clown, but Juju is a close second. All right. Random says Titans O or Packers O. I would lean towards the Packers because of Rodgers. Randomness says because who would want a quarterback who doesn't want to fight for his starting job? Talking about Wentz. Coach says Wentz disrespect his team. Did you guys see Raheem Mostert post about fantasy players? He got so much hate. No, I didn't see it. Wish says Jared Goff is a system quarterback. Yeah. Ultra says Matt Ryan is way better than Jared Goff. Stop. Seahawks and Lions fan says I'll subscribe on my other channel and super chat next time. Thank you. Holden says, how much do you think Cam will be asking for? Depends how big his market is, but I'm going to say 15 to 20 million, which is low-end starter, like high-end backup money. Brian says, Mitch, can you make a video about the best GM candidates on the market? I have a few guys in mind, but I would like to hear your thoughts. Brian, if I'm being completely honest, I don't know who the best GMs are. I don't work in the NFL. I don't know like what roles they play in their organizations. I have a better idea about coaches because I can see their products on the field. But in terms of like assistant GMs, scouts, like I don't know who's important. I could tell you about certain guys that I know the teams well enough to tell you, like Nick Caserio. Like I could tell you, about him, but like I don't know enough GMs where I could really make a good video on that. So I'm not going to pretend and be one of these guys on YouTube that makes a video about GMs that I have no idea who they are. Like coaches, I can do that, but I don't work in the NFL. Like there's a reason why like Adam Schefter or these guys could tell you about these guys because they know them or they know people around the situation. It would be very difficult for me to make a real video with actual good analysis on a video about potential general managers. Because how many general managers are there, like potential general managers, that a person like me would know what they actually do? Like obviously there's some guys that are in the public eye. Like I could tell you about Mike Mayock, right? Who is an NFL Network guy. Like you could simply just hear him talk on NFL Network for 10 plus years and kind of get an idea of how smart or how good he would be at the job. But yeah, I can't tell you about the assistant to the assistant GM of the Philadelphia Eagles. Like I don't really even know who that is. So yeah. Random News says, is Michael Thomas underrated? No. I could tell you about the GMs now, but future GMs are tough. No, I don't work in the NFL. Randomness says Odell doesn't really cause drama anymore. He used to, but now he doesn't really do that much. I feel like he's kind of funny sometimes, especially with the net, also when he apologized to it. Oh, yeah. Like, Odell's always gotten kind of a bad rap. But, yeah, he's grown. He's matured. Juju's still young, but it's not like Juju's causing problems. He's trying to get his shine on. But it's like you got to kind of know what the consequences are. All right. So I hope you guys enjoyed the show. If you did, don't forget to leave a Gronk spike on this video. Really helps out the video. Other people to reach it, other people to see it. And do subscribe to the channel if you're new and watching my content for the first time. It's Mitch. Thanks for watching. We will see you tomorrow for picks. And soon enough, my MVP video will be out. Thanks for watching. Peace.